On this bumpy 50-point inspection from Trillium Brewing Company out of Boston, Massachusetts, Canton, Massachusetts, and I believe they have a farm or something of sorts that they're starting up or started up down in Connecticut area. I have Franklin Park IPA, 7% alcohol, and this is part of the Emerald Necklace series. This beer is 3 weeks old at the time of this inspection. Let me just read a bit about this beer and why it is named what it is. The Emerald Necklace series tells a foundational piece of the Trillium Brewing story. If you visited our home of Boston, you've likely encountered and enjoyed a section of the Emerald Necklace. Beginning downtown at the Boston Common and Public Garden, extending out to the Back Bay and all the way to Dorchester, this 1,100-acre, 7-mile-long public park system is a cherished green oasis in the heart of the city. Years ago, J.C. cultivated a plot in the Fenway Victory Gardens where he grew edible and decorative plants, trees, and even some hop vines. Referred to as the crowning jewel of the Emerald Necklace, Franklin Park is Boston's largest open space. 485-acre park features a cross-country running course, multiple playgrounds, miles of trails, a public golf course, and the Franklin Park Zoo. I did not know there was a zoo in Boston. Interesting. The IPA that bears its name presents a hazy deep. We won't get into that part of it because I'm going to inspect it now and you'll see and hear about it. But the malts that are used are American 2-row barley, flaked rye, and C15 would be crystal 15. Crystal or caramel, same thing. 15 would be the Lovey Bond color. So kind of a lighter crystal color or caramel color. Hops, Simcoe and Amarillo. Those are two very nice hops. And I already said the ABV is 7%. So let's go ahead and start this inspection. Alright, the head on this is fairly tight, bubbled. Didn't generate a giant head, but it's white in color. And it looks frothy. Looks like it'll leave some kind of a little bit of frothy type glazing on the glass. The color of the beer itself is, I'm going to go with a yellow-orange coloration. Very hazy-esque, murky. The aromas, tropical fruit for sure. To me, it's kind of a bit of either a mango or papaya. Some type of citrus in there, maybe tangerine. Ruby red grapefruit. There's a sweetness in there. I'm smelling like some type of a berry. It's almost like a candied berry, like a sugar-coated strawberry or something. Yeah, the aromas are interesting in this. There is a little bit of that kind of maltiness, maybe like a caramel-esque, possibly coming from that C15. Kind of sweet. It does have a nice sweet aroma. Starts off tropical. Like I said, a little bit of that grapefruit. Once I'm catching that berry note, and that just keeps hovering in there. It's a nice like candied berry though. Maybe mixing with that malt a little bit. All right, well, let's go in for the first swig. So cheers. Body is kind of on the lighter side of a medium body, I would say. Carbonation, yeah, about medium-esque. Not a super soft palate. Slight drying on the tongue. First thing I noticed out of the malt presence, it's got a little bit of a grain factor. Some cracker type notes with that grain mix. Fruits coming off out of the hops, not the fruits, but the hops give off a bit of a fruitiness. I'd say kind of like papaya, a little bit down to earth. I think some of that rye malt might be mixing in there too. Kind of ends with a little bit of a spicy herbal zestiness. There is a little bit of a citrus vibe in there as well. Yeah, the flavors are definitely not coming off as dominant. The hop flavors, I should say, as dominant on the palate as I was picking up in the aromas. Not even really the same mix of flavors coming off on the palate for me. The citrus side is there. It's not really tangerine-esque though. Like, it was sweeter on the aromas. I'm not getting any berry in the flavor. That ruby red grapefruit note that was kind of in the aromas as well really is not in the flavors. Yeah, and this one didn't have like a real herbal zesty aroma either, and I'm picking that up on the back end of the palate. I think as this beer warms, maybe I will get a little bit more out of it. This came out of my fridge, and it's probably around 35 degrees or so. So a bit chilled. Need a good temperature for drinking a nice crisp cold lager. But maybe I'll let this warm up just a little bit as I'm doing my numbers on it. I tell you, the bitterness is not up there. It's not that perceived of bitterness. I'm not sure what their bittering units are on this one, but it goes well with the way the beer tastes. It's not destroying my palate, which is good. All right, let's go ahead and start getting some scores and try to let this warm up just a tad bit while I'm doing that. Okay, so it didn't really warm up all that much, but more or less as my palate became more accustomed to it, I was able to get a little bit of that kind of grapefruit note that I was getting out of the aromas. Very, very slight, but it is detectable, which is good. The appearance on this one, I'm going to give it the 6 out of 6. The aromatics, I'm going to give a 9 out of 10. They were nice, decent, pleasant. I would have preferred a more of a robust, like big old juice bomb. These ones kind of had to dig for, but very pleasant. 9 out of 10. Flavor factors, I'm at a 15 out of 19. Like I said, I wish more of the aromatic flavors were coming through in the flavor. The aromatic smells turned into flavor on the palate. It was missing some of the kind of sweet candy-esque type stuff I was getting in the aromas versus on the palate. And that ruby red grapefruit was a little dig to get, but got there. And that berry note, that like candied like berry note, was also not present on the palate. The quality on this one's fine, 5 out of 5. Before I get to my overall, I will read what they talk about now on their beer. It says this IPA bears its name Presents a hazy deep yellow in the glass. The aroma packs a bright citrus punch up front, boasting notes of candied grapefruit and pithy orange juice. A little bit different than I got the grapefruit. I got some kind of candy thing. I was getting berries. I believe there was a citrus. I think it's a tangerine-esque. They're talking about orange juice, stuff like that. Secondary notes complex, with Simcoe and Amarillo contributing underlying layers of papaya. Fresh pine. I think I said kind of like an herbal, zesty type note for the finish on the palate. Contributed that somewhat to the rye, maybe some of that papaya note. We're talking about fresh pine. Ripe cantaloupe. I can't really say I was getting a melon type flavor. And then they talk about like stone fruit, which could be anything from like peaches to who knows what. Medium-bodied and balanced. It is very balanced. Franklin Park finishes with a subtle, refreshing bitterness. Yes, like I said, a pretty mild bitterness for this one, well balanced out. So, some of the notes I picked up on, they had different notes according to Trillium as to what you should get out of this. Maybe somebody else would find something else other than what my palate's picking up. But I'm at an 8 out of 10 anyways, which is going to leave Franklin Park IPA, part of the Emerald Necklace series from Trillium, with a BuMpY 43 out of 50, which is going to put this as a very good beer. Just want to say cheers, and thank you all for watching.